Previously, when the government was thinking about development or planning for the construction of the national highways, the environment was not taken into the consideration. Now, the things are changing. On 14th of April 2026, Prime Minister Modi has inaugurated Delhi-Dehradun Expressway, and this shows that there has been a paradigm shift when it comes to the green infrastructure in the country. Now, this paradigm shift was not, it was not immediate. There were lots of factors. There were judicial interventions that were there. We'll be talking about, Godavarman case. There were the, human-wildlife conflicts, which is again a very important subject when it comes to your general studies papers. Now, when it comes to the conflict or the national highways, they had been a fatal toll, and ultimately lots of animals, they have died because of the collision with the various vehicles on the national highways. Like, for example, if we talk about the Tamil Nadu, in 2012 road survey, it was seen that 3,000 of the animal deaths were recorded in the survey itself in 2012. At the same time, when it comes to Odisha, so there were 123 dead vertebrae that were discovered over a 90-day period when it comes to the, Odisha. So ultimately, there had been lots and lots of human-wildlife conflicts, and that have resulted to death of lots of animals when it comes to the, road traffic accidents. And that is why it is very important that whenever we are planning for the national highway construction or we are building the roads, the environment and the eco-sensitive areas have to be taken into consideration. Now, when it comes to Delhi-Dehradun Expressway, this complete project have costed about 12,000 to 13,000 crore rupees. When it comes to the total timeline, so the total time that it used to take when we are traveling or when anyone was traveling from Delhi to Dehradun, that was 6.5 hours nearly. But now this time has been slashed to 2.5 hours. At the same time, there are certain ecological benefits that we'll be discussing that this project has incorporated. Now, when it comes to the complete route, it connects Delhi. From Delhi, you will travel to Ghaziabad, then to Bagpat, then Badaut, then Shamli and Saharanpur, and finally, the road will connect to the Dehradun. Thereby, this complete distance, it will get shortened to 2.5 hours. At the same time, what used to happen before was that there was a lot of human and wildlife conflict that was seen on National Highway 72A, and that have caused heavy annual mortality and habitat fragmentation as well. When it comes to the road, this road will pass, the complete road, it will pass through the eco-sensitive zones or regions of the Shivalik Forest Division as well as Rajaji National Park buffer zones, and thereby this complete expressway, it is a design that is led or design-led mitigation approach rather than just the road widening that we have seen in the earlier phases where the government used to develop the roads in India. Alright, at the same time, this is the complete data about Delhi-Dehradun Expressway. It is total 210 kilometers long expressway that is lesser than or reduced from 235 kilometers. The total travel time had been reduced from 6.5 hours to 2.5 hours. And when it comes to the wildlife corridor, there is 12 kilometers of the elevated stretch that allows free movement to the elephants as well as the tigers which are there in the region. At the same time, it has the dedicated 3.4 kilometer tunnel at Mohand that protects the ecosystem, and also there is an expectation that there will be 20% increase in the regional logistics efficiency, and the trade volume will increase between Dehradun and Delhi because of the expressway that has been designed. Not only this, these are the type of the tunnels that had been provided where this is the, how we have the Dhat Kali tunnel that is there. It is a 370 meter tunnel, which of which 340 kilometer is covered, and ultimately it is designed so that there is free movement of the animals throughout the underpasses which had been constructed. There is 6 to 7 meter of the clearance that has been designed so that the massive animals, just like elephants, they can pass underneath without any kind of obstruction. Also, there is 8 dedicated animal passes and 2 massive elephant underpasses which had been constructed. All right, so this is how we know that this has worked. So there was the camera that were installed, and ultimately when it comes, there were 150, or there are total 150 high-tech cameras deployed across the 8-kilometer stretch over 40 days. And through this, there had been the captures. Total images which were captured were 1,11,234. And out of this, the verified animal crossings were 40,444, and 18 unique species were recorded in this 40 days time period. So there were golden jackal, nilgai, sambar, spotted deer, and Indian hare as well, which were recorded along with the elephants which have passed through the underpasses. Now this had been, or this complete thing had been possible because of the whole of the government approach. Over here, National Highway Authority of India is the implementing agency for the infrastructure execution or for the complete execution of the road plans. Thereby, we have Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, which is the regulatory body for the environmental clearances, and also we have WII, that is Wildlife Institute of India, that have designed, and also after the construction, it has monitored the complete structure or the complete expressway. At the same time, we have state governments as well, both of the Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, along with the central government, which have moved forward, and the land acquisition and the local law enforcement was the major priority or the major responsibility of the state governments, and that is why by the whole of government approach this was possible. And this is important for preserving the wildlife that is in the region. All right, there will be an habitat connectivity where the restoring of the corridor functionality, it will be important for the Shivalik Elephant Reserve that we have. Also, there would be the roadkill that will be mitigated because the elevated structures, they will virtually eliminate any kind of collisions with the vehicle. Also, there would be a hydrological integrity because whenever we will have the seasonal rainfall that results into formation of chores in the Shivalik or the seasonal streams which are formed in the Shivaliks, and there would be better management of these seasonal streams. That is again a very important a very important factor that has been taken into consideration. And also for the noise pollution mitigation, there are the sand barriers which had been installed to prevent any kind of disturbance to the wildlife, because when it comes to elephants, the elephants are quite susceptible to the noise. All right, so they get very angry if there is any noise in the region. At the same time, this had been integrated with economy as well, because when it comes to the logistics revolution, there would be faster movement of the perishable goods that will be from Dehradun to Delhi or from Uttarakhand to Delhi. At the same time, when it comes to the tourism boost, there will be reliable community to the region, and there would be, when it comes to the abode of God, the region is well known for abode of God, or there is a Char Dham Yatra that is, there in the Uttarakhand every year. So ultimately, there would be a very good connectivity to the region so that a person can reach Dehradun within just 2.5 hours from Delhi to Dehradun, and that will boost the tourism in the Uttarakhand. At the same time, there would be development of the industrial clusters which will be along the Saharanpur-Shamli belt. This complete Saharanpur-Shamli belt, it comes under the Delhi region or Delhi NCR region of the industrialized belt, and there would be industrial clusters that will develop along the belt. And also, when it comes to the fuel reduction, so there would be fuel reduction. Earlier it was taking 6.5 hours. Now it will just take 2.5 hours. So there would be significant reduction in the carbon footprint due to the smoother traffic flow because of this expressway that has been inaugurated recently by Prime Minister Modi. However, this is not the first. All right, the government has moved from the grey infrastructure to the green infrastructure, and also when it comes to National Highway 44, or what it was previously known as National Highway 7, over there in the Pench National Park in Madhya Pradesh, there is the world's longest animal underpass on the national highway, and it is also the India's first. So we have achieved this feat even before. Now, when it comes to the road ahead, so what used to happen before? Before, there was zero-sum game when it came to development as well as environment. Both were not integrated into the same plan. But now what we are seeing right now is that there is a mitigation-led development where we are using technology to bypass the ecological sensitive areas, and we are developing such kind of roads and infrastructure that will have very less impact on the ecosystem that is there in the region. Also in the future, we'll be moving forward towards net zero highways where there will be integrated solar panels and rainwater harvesting that will fit into the highway design that we are moving forward, or that is the future. Now, this is a very big issue when it comes to the human-wildlife conflict. There had been lots of causes for the human-wildlife conflict. So basically, whenever there is the encounter between human and the wildlife, that leads to negative impacts, whether it is the loss of property, livelihoods, or even life. Now, this happens because of the agriculture expansion, because of the urbanization, because of the infrastructure development, because of the climate change and the change in the habitat of these animals, and also because of the wildlife population growth and the range expansion. Now, what this human-wildlife conflict has impact upon, it impacts it is responsible for grave injuries, for the loss of life as well. It damages to the farms and the crops, and also there is an increase in the violence against animals as well. Now, when it comes to the data, you can see the data over here, that is between 2019 to 2021, the tigers that had been killed, there were total death of 329 tigers because of the poaching or natural or unnatural causes. And also the tigers, they have killed 125 humans between 2019 to 2021. At the same time, there were total 1,579 humans that were killed in 3 years by the elephants, but at the same time there were 307 elephants that were dead because of poaching, because of electrocution or poisoning or the train accidents. So over here, what is important? There is the standing committee, and the standing committee says that the Gram Panchayats, they are empowered to deal with the problematic wildlife animals, and that is under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. There is also compensation against any kind of crop damage, that is through the PM Fasal Bima Yojana. The local or the state department, they may adopt early warning system and create barriers to mitigate the human-wildlife conflict. And also, the paying part of the ex gratia is the interim relief that is provided within 24 hours to the victim or the family if there had been or they had been involved in any kind of human-wildlife conflict and they have been seriously injured or there had been death. At the same time, when it comes to state-specific initiative, you can see in Uttar Pradesh, man-animal conflict had been listed under disaster by the State Disaster Relief Force, as well as in Uttarakhand, biofencing had been done, and also various plant species had been used for this biofencing so that the animals, they do not cross that particular fence and enters into the human populated areas. In Odisha, there has been casting of the speedballs inside forest to enrich the feed or food stock for the elephants as well. In Sonitpur, the community members were trained to drive the elephants away safely, and this experiment or this was done in 2003-2004. At the same time, Nilgiri's elephant corridor had been maintained or they had been planned and they had been constructed, where the Supreme Court have held the Madras High Court decision that the right of passage and the resort closure is actually important so that the elephant corridor can be maintained and the elephant passage can be done without any kind of interference. Now, when it comes to the environment and also when it comes to the synergy between the development and environment. So over here, T. N. Godavarman case is very important, which happened in Supreme Court in 1995. Over here, the public trust doctrine for the forest was laid down by the Supreme Court. Here, what has happened was that this complete case is now cited as a continuous mandamus. Mandamus is basically the writ where the court, it forces or it says that this is your duty and now you have to do this duty. So where the court compels a public officer or the public authority to do its duty truly, so that is what is the writ of the mandamus. And over here, because of this T. N. Godavarman case, over here the court have continuously passed the orders and also they have monitored the compliance lasting for over 2 decades, and that is why this case is known as continuous mandamus. Over here, the court have ruled that the Forest Conservation Act applies to all areas. All right. Earlier, it was just the notified forest. All right, or the reserved and the protected forest where the Forest Conservation Act was implied. But in this case, the Supreme Court have led that the Forest Conservation Act, it applies to all areas that fit the dictionary sense of a forest, whether it has been notified by the government or not. At the same time, the court have ordered the creation of CAMPA funds as well. That is Compensatory Afforestation Fund Management and Planning Authority, or CAMPA, was established by T.N. Godavarman case. Again, this is very important case when it comes to the forest, the forest or the public trust doctrine for the forest, and even for the management and the compliance monitoring of the forest that is there. Again, very important case for your prelims examination as well. Alright, so that would be all in this video. I hope that you have now a gist that how we are constructing the roads that is assimilating the environment framework also into the development module. And this is very important that we must preserve the flora and fauna, because the species diversity is the major important thing, and ultimately this is the reason, or this is the time period we are witnessing that there are the lot of species which are dying or they are getting extincted. We are in a phase of mass extinction, and ultimately it is our duty to preserve the nature, whether it is the flora or the fauna of the nature. You can reach out to me and connect to me on my Telegram. This is the QR code that you can scan. And also that would be all in this video. Thank you very much guys for joining me over here. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care and Jai Hind. Do not forget to like, share as well as subscribe this video. Thank you. Jai Hind.